Your ancestors worked about 4 hours a day, and they were perfectly healthy. Meanwhile, you're sitting at a desk for 8 to 10 hours wondering where your life went. Something went very, very wrong. For most of human history, the standard workday was nothing like what we have now. Hunter-gatherers, the people who lived before farming, typically worked between 3 and 5 hours a day to meet all their survival needs. Not 8, not 10, 3 to 5. Anthropologist Marshall Solins called hunter-gatherers the original affluent society. Not because they had lots of stuff, but because they had lots of time. And time, it turns out, might be the most valuable resource of all. Let's go back. Way back. About 300,000 years ago. Early Homo sapiens didn't have farms, factories, or bosses. They lived in small bands of roughly 20 to 50 people. Every day, some people went to hunt. Others gathered plants, nuts, and fruits. And then they stopped. They came back. They ate. They rested. Studies of modern hunter-gatherer groups, like the Kungsan of the Kalahari, confirm this pattern. The Kungsan spent roughly 2 to 3 days per week acquiring food. The rest was leisure, socializing, and sleep. Sleep. Can you imagine? Sleeping as part of your job description. Richard Lee, who studied the Kungsan in the 1960s, calculated that they consumed over 2,000 calories a day with minimal effort. The land basically fed them. They just had to know where to look. And here's the thing that really stings. They weren't stupid or primitive, their brains were the same size as yours. Their knowledge of the natural world was extraordinary. They knew the names and properties of hundreds of plants. They tracked animals across miles using subtle signs. This wasn't laziness. This was efficiency. They did exactly what they needed to survive, and then they stopped. No overtime, no inbox, no KPIs. So when exactly did everything go wrong? The answer is about 12,000 years ago. The agricultural revolution, farming, the thing historians call one of the biggest mistakes in human history. Wait, farming was a mistake? Yes, at least for individuals. Anthropologist Jared Diamond called agriculture the worst mistake in the history of the human race. Because farming meant working more, a lot more, from sunrise to sunset every single day. And what did farmers get in return? Worse nutrition, shorter lifespans, more disease. The bones of early farmers show signs of arthritis, malnutrition, and repetitive stress injuries at young ages. Hunter-gatherers were actually taller and healthier on average than the early farmers who replaced them. So why did people start farming if it was so bad for them individually? The honest answer, they didn't always choose to. Populations grew. Land became scarce. Farming could support 10 times more people per square mile than hunting and gathering. So farming won, not because it was better for you, but because it could feed more people. Quantity over quality. Society over the individual. Sound familiar? And once farming started, there was no going back. The work trap was set. Farming created surpluses. Surpluses created storage. Storage created ownership. Ownership created inequality. Inequality created rulers. And rulers needed workers. Suddenly, working hard wasn't just about survival. It was about serving someone above you. The concept of a working day, dawn to dusk, became the norm for thousands of years. Then came the Industrial Revolution, and things got even worse. In the 1800s, factory workers routinely worked 14 to 16 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week. Children as young as 5 worked in mines and mills. This wasn't ancient history, this was 200 years ago. The 8-hour workday didn't exist until workers fought and died for it in the late 1800s. Robert Owen's slogan, 8 hours labor, 8 hours recreation, 8 hours rest. That ideal? Still not fully achieved for most people on Earth today. So let's pause on something uncomfortable. Why do we work so much? The honest answer isn't survival anymore. Most of us in developed countries aren't working to avoid starvation. We work to afford things we've been convinced we need. Things that didn't exist 100 years ago. Economist Thorstein Veblen called this conspicuous consumption back in 1899. Buying things not because you need them, but to signal your status to others. Your caveman ancestor didn't have a mortgage, a car payment, or a Netflix subscription. His needs were real and direct. Food, shelter, Warmth, community. And community. That might be the one thing we've lost the most. Hunter-gatherers lived in tight social groups. Every meal was shared. Every problem was collective. Loneliness, as we experience it today, was essentially impossible in that structure. Today, loneliness is an epidemic. The U.S. Surgeon General declared it a public health crisis in 2023. We work alone. We eat alone. We scroll alone at midnight wondering why we feel empty. Your brain wasn't built for this. It was built for a campfire and 30 people who know your name. Now let's talk about leisure. What did cavemen actually do with all that free time? They slept more. Studies of modern hunter-gatherers show 7 to 8.5 hours of sleep per night on average. They napped, they told stories, they made music and art. Cave art found in Indonesia dates back 45,000 years. These people were artists. They weren't surviving moment to moment in constant fear. They had mental space to create. Compare that to you, checking your phone 96 times a day on average. Mental space? What mental space? Your brain is bombarded from the moment you wake up. There's even a name for the cognitive toll of constant work and stimulation: directed attention fatigue. When your brain never gets to wander, it loses its ability to think deeply and creatively. Hunter-gatherers let their minds wander constantly. That wasn't laziness. That was mental maintenance. Here's another uncomfortable question. Did the agricultural revolution make civilization possible? Yes, absolutely. Farming built cities. Cities built science. Science built medicine and technology. The phone you're watching this on exists because someone once decided to plant a seed in dirt. So we can't simply go back. And most of us wouldn't want to. No antibiotics, no dentistry, no hot showers. But the question isn't whether to go back. The question is, what can we reclaim? Because here's what the science says. Shorter work weeks don't reduce productivity. They often increase it. Iceland ran large-scale trials of 4-day work weeks. The result? Same output. Happier workers, less sick time. Microsoft Japan tried a 4-day work week in 2019. Productivity jumped by 40%. Sleep deprivation costs the US economy $411 billion per year in lost productivity. Overwork isn't just bad for you, it's bad for business, it's bad for everyone. The caveman wasn't lazy. He was operating at the exact level his biology was designed for. Your body and brain still carry that ancient wiring. Nothing about you is built for 60-hour weeks. Your cortisol levels spike when you're overworked. Chronic stress literally reshapes your brain. The hippocampus, your memory and emotion center, actually shrinks under prolonged stress. Your caveman ancestors' cortisol only spiked when a lion showed up. Then, it dropped. Now yours is elevated all day. Every deadline, every ping, every meeting, your body can't distinguish from that lion. So, what do we do with all of this? We can't dismantle the system. But we can push back personally. Protect your sleep. Prioritize real human connection. Let your mind wander without guilt. These aren't luxuries. They are biological necessities that your ancestors understood intuitively. We built a civilization. That's remarkable, but somewhere along the way we forgot to ask, for whom? Your ancestor sat by a fire, full-bellied and surrounded by people who loved him, watching stars. He didn't have Wi-Fi or running water, but he had something most of us spend our whole lives chasing: enough. He had exactly enough. Maybe that's the most radical idea of all. If you made it this far, your prehistoric brain is doing just fine. And if you found this unsettling, good. You were supposed to.